that he can share with us so that any innovator who's with us today, they can learn from. Mr. Sumeet Mathur.
Good afternoon. Thanks for this kind of introduction, and thanks to IESA for giving us this opportunity to share our story. I will start by introducing Cyril Systems and then sharing some of the learnings that we have had as a semiconductor company based out of India. So Cyril Systems is a fabless semiconductor company focused on power and analog ICs. We develop products in two domains. One is active capacitive stylus controllers, and the other is power solutions, which is battery management, power regulators, and switches. We are a team of about 40 people. We have cumulative shipments of about 35 million units since our inception in 2013. And the team started as another company. So overall, the team has over 15 million units, 50 million units shipped. We've got 9 US patents. So when I say active capacitive stylus, that's a new term. So let me just walk through what active capacitive stylus is. Active capacitive stylus has a fine tip like a ballpoint pen, unlike those big rubber tips which the passive styluses have. So it has a lot of accuracy, and it has got pressure sensitivity inbuilt. Basically, the stylus communicates to the touch screen via the touch controller. So the stylus sends high voltage signals, and the touch screen receives communication to pinpoint the position of the stylus and the pressure on the stylus. So there are various protocols, and we are seeing now active stylus across all the major OS families, whether it's Windows, whether it's Chrome OS. Almost everyone has a standard or a proprietary standard supporting active pen. So Cyril has two products in this space. One is the what is known as the Microsoft Pen protocol. So we started building ICs in this space initially, and one of our ICs, CCA1001, has been used in this domain for several years, and recently we transitioned to a new IC, which is CSA2001, which is compatible to two protocols, which is the Universal Stylus Initiative, which is used in Chrome OS, and and the next generation of the Microsoft protocol, which is MPP2. So cumulatively, we have shipped maybe 25 million units of these ICs, and the new IC is getting a lot of traction. So as I mentioned, our first IC was used in the Windows OS system. So it was used in laptops from the leading laptop OEMs. And then recently, Chrome OS has also adopted the USI standard, and our ICs is used in the pens from all the leading PC OEMs there as well. So the other piece that we do is a system power management ICs. So this is basically DC-DC regulators, voltage charger, battery chargers, and we have solutions across spanning the class of products from tablets to wearables. The other product that we have is a unique product which is used in industrial application, which is for probe cards. So these are basically high density switch arrays, which are used to probe devices like memories and big processor ICs. The idea is to reduce the number of touchdowns that the probe card has to make to the wafer for testing the wafer. Okay, so that's about Cyril Systems, and now I just wanted to share some of the history and how we have been working in these spaces, the spaces that we are working in. So, as I mentioned, Cyril was spun off from the ASIC division of Cosmic Circuits, and we started operations as Cyril in April 2013. The way we started at Cosmic was to build custom analog ICs for system companies leveraging our analog IP base. And when we formed Cyril, our goal was to move away from the custom solution and broad base the solution as a standard IC company. So so the transition from custom ASICs to ASSP. So that's really going to be what I'm going to talk about, how we transitioned these products from being custom ASICs to ASSPs, so that we could target a larger customer base rather than only one customer. So, so the early success came because of the success and the efforts of one of our customers. So one of the ASICs that we did for Stylus got good traction as a custom IC with the US, mega US OS company. And we started seeing shipping some volume. We got further lucky when our customer was acquired by that company. So that's what that's as good as it gets, and then the real challenges started. So basically, our goal was to scale this this solution, but what we felt was that scaling this beyond the main customer and qualifying and then further qualifying to participate in their roadmap, that was the challenge. So while we got the success by getting into the product domain, but continuing on the same continuing with the same customer for his future roadmap, and then broad basing the solution to cover other OEMs was the challenge. So as I mentioned, we had the major customer, but being a very small company based out of India and not having a global presence, not having enough scale or funding, it wasn't ever going to be easy for the big OEM to consider as a partner for the future for his future roadmap. But what while that happened, the ray of light came when they enabled us to license. They opened a licensing program, so they enabled many pen makers in Greater China, which is Taiwan and China, to make pens compatible to their protocol. And this was the opportunity that we were waiting for. We really seized this opportunity, and we could work with these different ODMs to make a solution compatible to the protocol. And also almost at the same time, so this is around 2015, 2016 timeframe, a new standard emerged, which is the Universal Stylus Initiative, and that also helped us network with the pen makers who were in the supply chain of the PC OEMs. So the Windows Inc. Licensing program enables Cyril to position our solution as an ASSP rather than an ASIC, and we could work with maybe 7 or 8 pen makers to broad base our solution. This required considerable effort from our side because we had to adapt the IC with all the features it had. All of the volume was for the one mega customer, and he was using one configuration. We had to adapt the IC, work with the pen ODM, support them to make sure that their pens worked, and that helped us get into continue the sales of its device into different PC OEMs. And almost at the same time, the Universal Stylus Initiative came, and this was a consortium of companies which was trying to make a universal protocol between pen and touch. We again could work with all the we could network with all the ODMs in this space and all the major OEMs, and we invested significantly in development of the solution for this. So one of the things that helped us during this time was that the protocols became complex, and discrete solutions could not do that, and we could build the lowest power, lowest bound solution in the industry to cater to this solution to this market. So the key learnings for us in this journey that by working on an emerging space, which was the active capacitor stylus, it provided us a more level playing field. There were not many other competitors who had controllers for stylus, and the controllers for stylus was becoming a necessity because of the complexity of the protocol, and we could have the first movers advantage in this field. So that's one of the things that really helped us. Just to note that similar efforts on the PMIC have been also made, but we haven't got the same scale as we have on the stylus IC there, because that's a much more mature space. So I think my recommendation to all companies doing fabless is to really look at emerging fields where there are a lot of new domains which need vertical solutions, and focusing on the right vertical and focusing on the right niche gives opportunities for new SoCs, new ICs, and that's what Cyril did, and that's what has helped us. The other key thing was to understand the supply chain clearly and know who the ODMs were for the pen. So we almost all of us know the OEMs and the end customers who make who take the solution to market, but it is important to know the ODMs who are in the supply chain of these OEMs and target them so that we can make them adopt our solutions. The standard committee definitely helped us identify those and build relationships with them, and so that's very important aspect of scaling the adoption, is to know who are the key ODMs who will take you to the OEMs, because just the OEMs are sometimes too big, and also they are really not the final decision makers. The ODMs are the ones who will make the decision on the IC choice. So understanding that piece helped us a lot. And then the next step was to really understand the requirements of the ODM partners and respecting them as customers, although they really don't have a name. It is the pen belongs to the PC OEMs, but they know this business for a long time, and so we really have to work with them and understand their requirements, support them with application engineers. So that's something that we put a lot of effort on, and we also supported them with high quality collaterals so that they could solve all their production problems. So not only the first technical design-in is important, but handholding the customer through this was what really helped us create the stickiness in this space and create long-term relationships with these ODMs. So as I mentioned, there was a phase where we were in the big OEM, and then there was a transition where for the next generation, we were not really able to continue in that space. And during that time period, there was a period of transition from stylus before some of the new stylus revenue picked up and the legacy stylus revenue died. There was a difficult time for the company, but this is where having some of the PMIC really helped us. So the additional products other than one product line helped us. So while focus is very important, some amount of de-risking really is important by having multiple revenue streams. So these are some of the things that work for us, and some of the things that really we should have put more effort on right from the beginning, and we did not. And this is something that I would do differently if I were to do this again, is to raise enough capital upfront. So when we started this journey from at Cyril, I think we should have raised bigger capital and also had global reach right from the beginning. And so those are the things that I would recommend that all fabless startups plan right from the beginning. It's not only the technical piece that's relatively easier and that normally falls in place, but it's really about making the investment in the customer relationships and having the and putting the effort to have the reach closer, putting the effort to have the have support for customer closer to him. So while these are challenges, I think what Cyril has been able to show is that it is possible that if we focus on the right products to get into global supply chains. So I think that's something we take a lot of pride in. A small, unheard of company with 40 people, but being in the supply chain of the tier 1 OEMs. And that is something that's possible. And that's what I hope that we can accomplish as an ecosystem more and more. And Cyril is just a very, very small proof or validation of that concept, but we need to, we hope that that there will be more and more such in the coming years. So in terms of where we are headed, so I think we've been doing well in the stylus domain, but our stylus to further broad base our stylus, we are trying to make them protocol agnostic, and by doing so, we hope that we will be able to capture a bigger portion of the market and also broad base it in terms of adoption in more types of devices. So today, if you see, most of the stylus is used in 2-in-1 laptop computers, both in Windows and Chrome OS. There is some adoption in tablets, but the tablet space is something that needs more work for pen adoption, and for that we just have started work on this, and we have the first solution optimized for this space. So we hope this will add an additional growth for the company. And the other thing is of course the biggest volume would be when hopefully this gets into mobile. So we have been seeing some small adoption in mobile here and there, but I think with the mobile screens becoming bigger and with the foldable screens going to come in the future, there is a need for the pen input. So towards this, we are making right now efforts and working with some of the key partners to enable this. But yeah, it's some time away, but we hope that we will be able to enter that space as well. So the key thing going forward for the company is to take as much of the market share available in the active stylus space as possible, so that we continue our first mover advantage. As the market grows, we know there will be more competition, so we need to really accelerate the development for these different verticals, so that we retain the first mover advantage in all these 3 verticals, which we believe we are at this point poised well for that, and we are continuing to work in these areas. So over the next 24 months, we foresee that all these 3 areas will see adoption of pen. The other thing that we have invested a lot in and not really got a whole lot of market traction yet is the power ICs. And one of the opportunities that we are seeing is to aggregate some of the power solutions with the stylus. So that way we can bundle some of the power solutions with the stylus SoC, and thereby begin our journey for taking the fair market share in the power markets. In the near term, of course, we like all fabless semiconductor companies which are smaller, we are facing a lot of operational challenges with the foundry capacity is really short in 2021 and 2022. through 2021, we got excellent support from our foundry partners. Through 2022, we are seeing quite some challenges, and we are working proactively to explore more foundries so that we can continue the supply of ICs to our customers. So yeah, that brings me to the end of this talk. So this is really a journey so far. We have got some traction, the initial traction in one domain, which is the stylus domain, and we hope to continue to build on this and take the company to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sumeet, for sharing your experiences. And I must confess that Cyril is definitely an example of an Indian company deciding to take the plunge, identifying a market, segmenting the market right, and then creating solutions for the market. So this is an example that I would encourage all the innovators who have some bright ideas to take a look at this and say that if somebody can do it, I can do it as well. And also one key important point, Sumit, that you had in your key learnings, that there will be challenges. It's about the focus and the execution that will help the companies and startups get over those roadblocks that they may encounter. Sumit, there is a question that has come up from the audience, so I will pose it to you.
Okay.
Before I do that, can I request you to switch on your video one more time, please?
Yeah, just did.
Thank you so much. So Sumit, the question that has come is trying to break some mindsets, and I'll pose the question to you. The question says that small chips can also make big revenues. Is that really true?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, analog is all about that, right? The analog mixed signal space is really about that. So it's getting it's doing the small chips, which are still very important, and getting onto big designs. So I think that's the key of analog mixed signal design, right? So it could be just an LDO, it could just be an amplifier, but if it's key to the system, it'll give you the volumes.
Absolutely right. And I think the question must have come from someone who's trying to dispel this myth that all semiconductor chips have to be big and only then a company can be successful in addressing the market. But Cyril and the market that you're playing in is a good example of having the right solution for the right problem is the key, and not just about the size of the semiconductor device.
Right.
So Sumit, again, that was the main question that came through. So I want to thank you on behalf of everybody at IESA and all the audience for taking time to talk to us and sharing your experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With that, I want to bring the next speaker to the stage.